They've always got a lot of accessories here. Some quite cool, some less cool. I always love the books, always bid on a few. I rarely win because books always go for quite a bit because knowledge is power and has very high value. However, you can get some of the less exciting stuff for less money. 2609, by the way, would be another one of my many picks of the sale. Some really beautiful hand tools in here. Some very specialist chisels, drivers, scrapers, files. That is a nice box of hand tools. I really like that actually. There's a couple of draw knives in there. That is a good, I don't know how much it is, but it feels like a good buy. There is a number of things in here. Oh, hello baby. There is some really sweet stuff in here. Should stop playing. Actually look at something a little bit more sensible. We did look at these last time. These action forgings are particularly sweet. A very large lump of titanium. Some stock blanks. I really like this as a pack of old Nicholson targets. Which is quite cool. And again, it's not particularly useful stuff. It depends, right? It's really easy just to buy loads of stuff in your life, and wheedling down the quality is an interesting one. It's an old 88 by the look of it. Again, action forging. If you felt the need to build your own. Some geese. These decoys, I presume. They're quite cool. Proper old-fashioned stuff. Sticks. Something to do with Sam's love life. I always like things like this. Any sort of quality luggage, especially when it involves drinking, is acceptable to me. A load of reloading dies. Again, like you really, I don't really know where to stop. I presume these are 505 Gibbs cufflinks. Oh no, not. Quite cool though. Again, their world really is your oyster in terms of accessories here. It's a proper rummage central. A Leupold Mark IV, a Leupold VX2, a Leupold VX3. Good scopes, great scopes. A box of 4Ns. 2635. I mean, I presume they're some Browning ones. Some more Browning, a lot of Browning 4Ns. That's cool. Cool's an on word. Pigeon decoys. Look at those bad boys. There's a bit of a history of pigeon decoying, isn't it? These are lovely things. Old game carriers. Very nice. They're probably not that old, that particular one, but there's some slightly older looking ones up there. Spear. Everyone needs a spear. Centre vision stock for a side lock. Bullet molds. Oh, it's a spear. It's a harpoon of doom. Look at that. 2775. That is particularly sweet. What do we think that is? Just an air pistol case for a Hammerly. Where are we looking? Oh. For those of you who don't like standing up to go to the fridge or the bar, that'll do the job. 2827, and it's got what looks like a Jägermeister catching a poacher and dragging him off by the ear because the poacher has stolen a hare. Maybe, who knows? I'm sure there's probably a better story to it than that. Bit of bondage gear for stalking deer. Where else are we? What have we got? Very nice cleaning kits. Again, the world really is, it's rummage central, hello. These are a pair of stabilised mammoth ivory scales. They're quite pleasant. I saw those in the sale before. Well, I say before. I saw them on the internet. They're very nice. Quite a nice colour. Good quality. I don't know. These offcuts. I don't really know what that is. Is a box of walnut offcuts with 2 lot numbers on. Loading equipment. Old-fashioned loading equipment. I remember they used to get all the stories from all the old boys used to tell me about how they used to have 2 nippers sat in the back of the gun shops loading up the shop's ammunition. It's a different sort of time. It's not the sort of time that people come in now and regularly buy 5,000 or 6,000 a piece and burn through them at Clay's a trap. Sporting Clays as opposed to Clay's not being trap. It's cool. Could just be a repro, but it is still quite sweet. Little flint affair. Wick holding device. Oh, that's more like it's a little bit of me. Spring clamp. So I've got a couple of these. This is quite a large one. You put that in to actually compress your mainspring before putting it in place. I did see online they had a couple of smaller ones as well. This is a humorous bottle opener device. I don't really know what's happening here. I feel mildly embarrassed, but I can't stop playing. So this was made before the internet, and as you can see, I can't talk about it really. It's very inappropriate, quite funny. 3006 penknives. Everyone loves a 3006 penknife. Or 3006? Probably not. It's got a rim on it. It's a penknife in some very large caliber, or some average size caliber. Selection of woodcutters. That's quite exciting. I like that a lot. You can see they've actually been used as well. Someone's used that to cut up some wads. That one's got a little burr on the edge, but the rest of them are actually quite nice. If you felt the need to own one, that is very pleasant. I like that a lot. A lot of drinking paraphernalia. It's almost as if guns and drinking don't go together, but do. Ooh, what's in here, do we think? Parazzi stock. These are particularly sweet. These are probably my highlight of the accessories, other than the tools. Case labels are beautiful things, especially original ones like this. And there's some particularly nice ones, especially when they're all battered like that. There used to be an antique shop near me that used to sell all manner of old stuff. But old things in polythene bags definitely fill me with some kind of weird joy. Here's a whole nother bag of them. I want to open it. I feel the need to buy them just so I can... It's the adult... I was going to say the adult version. It's the gun lovers version of stamp collecting. That's what I meant. Oh, the Babington Library. There's a few members now. I've got a couple of these. Shooting, Moore and Marsh. I think I've got that book there. And then Nick Holt told me that the contents was very likely written by Ralph Payne Galway, and as such was complete and utter useless trash because he knows nothing. But it is still an interesting read. You fancy some fairly interesting history? Here's some interesting history for you. To go with some of the cool guns and the Crease Marine clock in the main sale that will go for, unfortunately, way more than it's booked for, so I'm told. What's this? The modern shotgun, and there's some epic books here. Sorry, I'm just going to spend 5 minutes having a look through. The Modern Shotgun by Major Gerard Burrard. The Gun, the Cartridge, Volume 3, the Gun and Cartridge. Field Library. Yeah, there's some seriously nice books here. There's some on fishing, if you like that. There's some on fishing. The Art of Deer Stalking by William Scrope. But there's nothing about thermal in here. It's talking about the Barbary red deer. Shot one a long time ago. That's very interesting. Stag of Scotland, Stag of Barbary, and the Stag of Asia. Look at that. I think, you know, our knowledge of deer has probably moved on since 1838, but that, for a deer lover, what a book. I don't even know what lot that's in, but... Oh, they've also got British Gun Making by Nigel Brown. What lot is that? Yeah, volume 1, 2 and 3. That is a perfect buy for someone. And Boss & Co by Donald Dallas. That's separate. There are some brilliant books here. Again, if you're a gun lover of English guns, there's certain books that you have to own, and they are expensive. But once you own them, you only need to buy them once. So that would probably be my recommendation to many people who are probably looking at guns, is perhaps to arm yourself with a book that will cost the same as a gun. Maybe. Depends how much of a geek you want to be. Finally, out of the accessory, we did look at this before. It's a gargantuan action forging for a 4.4, I guess. If you had the particular nous to buy it and do something with it, that would be brave. They did have some tubes. They might still have them somewhere. Actually, hold on. What is this? Figured walnut full stock. If you want a rifle built, this is a good place to start. It's quite an interesting piece of walnut, that, actually. Well, generally, you just buy it and look at it for the next 10 years, pretending to make a stock, which is seemingly what I do with nice wood that I buy for myself. Anyway, should we go back to guns, Sam? Yeah, let's go back to guns. Before we look at the next sweet gun, I've been asked by quite a few people, can you bid on these as a regular guy? Yes, yes you can. Go on the website, full instructions there. Register, chuck a sealed bid in. The way a sealed bid works is that you put in the maximum you'd like to spend. If someone bids more, you won't know because it's sealed and you might not win it. So if you want to win, put a decent bid in. If you just want to be cheeky, chuck a cheeky bid in. But from experience, cheeky bids don't win, serious bids do. So there you go, my advice over. Back to cool guns. All right, back on side by side. Let's see if we can find any beauties. We're kind of taking a step over the top of the Spanish stuff, and we're going to mingle in the English and see what we can find. Though there's a few nice Spanish guns mixed in. There's a nice AOA number 2. 56.99. Again, these really do represent good, strong, good value for money guns. This one's not been put back together nicely, unfortunately, but it wouldn't take a lot to tighten some screws up. Let's see, this caught my eye straight away. Anything that sticks well above the line of the rack always catches my eye. This is a Henry Atkin, number 2 of a pair, only one here. It is a 30-inch barreled gun with a, what would appear to be about 16.25 inch stock, 16 and a odd inch stock. Nice dimensions, actually fits lovely. Like this sort of thing is the sort of thing that anybody over 6'5" yearns and looks for. Action wise, that's where we get excited. It does have a little bit of a headache, a little loose. Not that it's unpleasant in its looseness. It's also an assisted opener, which is quite nice. You can see that on the fore end there. And it opens and closes very nicely. Again, a touch loose. The real issue comes, it's got a little crack in the head there. It's actually cracked back through the hand here as well. But you know, guns like this you could buy and repair cracks like that relatively cheaply. Have it rejointed relatively cheaply. I think this is valued at well under £1,000. That's mega. Look at the engraving pattern on that bottom there. That is just beautiful. This is a real quality gun. It's just, yeah, a difficult one. Speaking to the guys here, and the top lever spring's a bit dead as well, so we need a new top lever spring, but that's neither big nor complex a job. It's cracked back through the top of the head there a little way as well. So yeah, it's not bad, but none of the cracks are awful. It's the sort of gun you could buy, throw a few £100 into, and for around £1,000 mark, have a beautiful polished file, flat rib, long stock thing. If you're over 6'6", that is a hell of a buy. Yeah, I mean, it's a restock. It is a restock, but it's not a bad restock, apart from the fact it's cracked. Feels good, looks good, and it's a little deeper than it should be, but that obviously is designed for a big bloke. I like that a lot. In fact, I might even put a sealed bid on it. Happy hunting, tall people. What's that? Charles Lancaster. That's very nice. Look at the way that wood comes up into the action bar of that box. That's very pleasantly done. Really nicely put together gun. Charles Lancasters are quality guns. Look at that scroll. Really open scroll with the leaf. It's very, very pleasant. I really like that gun. That's 5716. That's a beautiful, beautiful gun. Bit of right hand, quite a bit of right hand cast. Original stock and fore end, flat point checkering. Not a best quality gun, but still just a beautiful one. I really think over how beautiful that engraving pattern is around the whole action there. So it's sort of semi-rounded box lock. Let's have a look what we're dealing with. Cylinder and cylinder chokes. It could be black powder only. Could be black powder only. That might be the only issue with it. Be kind of everything. It might stand reproof. The answer is to speak to Holtz and see what that would go for. 5716. That's very nice. Snap action. Joseph Lang and Sons. Look at this. You get your safety catch on the top there. That's quite pleasant. It's automatic on a snap. Push down under lever. It's very interesting stock and lock works. Like it's quite a squat lock down there. What a weird transitional gun that is, between the conventional lock that everyone came up with and Lang's patent at the time, which it clearly believed in. Horn grip cap plate there, full length trigger guard. This is a really nice little gun. Very sleek lines. I like that. That's a very pleasant thing. It is sleeved. It is sleeved. Beautiful London built gun that. Very, very nice. Some beautiful touches to the engraving. Perhaps have a few things about it that are less fine by modern standards, but mostly just in the design. That is nice. And you got a pretty ghastly repair there. You got a few bits about it that are less than pleasant. But you know, for what this thing is up for, 5722, it's the basis of a stunning working gun. William Moore and Gray. I did a video on one of their hammer guns a long time ago, and to be honest, all of their guns are of very good quality. This particular one needs a bit of a boiling out. You've got some old muck there, a bit of rust. All the engraving is filled with gunk. But again, feels relatively tight. It's just a good quality, beautiful Damascus box lock. And it's a non-ejector, so it's, you know, you're not sitting on lots and lots of money. Does look a little bit like a restock. Quite probably just a restock, but it's not a bad job. Very pleasant. Again, you're not going to find many of these guns in the seal bid as good a quality they are without some things, a sleeving job, a bit of a crack. It's about deciding where your lines are with being happy to repair or potentially being happy that it's non-original. And that's where the bargains come into play. Enough A-ways to shake multiple sticks at. W.R. Leeson, look at the way those locks, it's rounded as you like, that sort of a real elliptical lock plate there with the way that fence goes up. That's a very pleasant looking little gun. W.R. Leeson Limited, Hanover Square, London. Never seen Leeson before. Yeah, classic leather pad, nice bit of wood. Sensible sort of specs. That's a very pleasant gun, 5725. Good and tight. Yeah, I'll get behind that. It's a really lovely gun. And you're not looking. Ooh. Here you go, loose loop. There's going to be something wrong with it. You're going to have that potentially brazed back in. That is a slightly more expensive job to have done properly. But again, all these things are priced to account for that. Look at this, isn't that stunning engraving? That's a really beautiful pattern and an absolutely beautiful gun. There's an element of faith needed when you buy something like this to go, I'll buy it, I'll throw some money into it, and at the end I'll have something unique and I'll have saved a gun. Look at the border, look at that border. That is stunning, absolutely stunning. What else have we got? George Bate with some very angry looking geese on the side. That's 5677. Very angry geese. And look at the way that safety tang is chamfered down the edge there. That's a real classy touch. And the ejector with the E, gold E missing. That's a lovely thing. It's a very nice bait. Nice brown Damascus as well. Yeah, 2.5 inch reproof nitro, 5690 WJ Jeffrey of London, and that deep acanthus scroll. That's a very pleasant thing. Again, sleeved, but not horribly sleeved. Like it handles very nice, great, very good sleeving job, and a beautiful little box lock as well, and a restock. But again, excuse the mould, if you were to put a bit of love into that stock, that would be a really beautiful thing. 5690. It's very nice. Aya. That's right. That's right, and Sun ejector. That's nice. Had a bit of a refinish. Not badly done. That's a pleasant looking gun, isn't it? 5684. Something just delicious about box locks, isn't there? Something really delicious about a good box lock. The price is obviously part of what is delicious. Nice cogswell there. Very nice coggy. A little bit of damage to the back of the stock. 5671. Yeah, I really like that. That stock's loose. It's the only thing that worries me with that. It might be a step too far for the average person. Look at that. A Galleon and Son. Again, just a nice quality box lock. Restock, but a really nice piece of wood in longish measurements, about 15.5. That's a very nice gun. Someone's put some love into that. 5672. It's an interesting one where they have such a big mainsail. I think a few of the things that might usually be in the mainsail have snuck into the seal bid because it's some real nice bits of kit. Some really nice bits of kit. And buckets of Laronas and AYAs and Zabalas and Ugarte chairs, which are great guns as well. I don't knock them. The Birmingham Small Arms Company, UK, England. Down the BSA. Some good workhorse guns. Again, the beauty of the seal bid is there's guns from like 20 or 30 quid all the way up to a couple of grand. Agnew. Look at that Damascus on that. Very, very prominent. 5752. Good, honest, unexciting box lock that, by the look of it. And then we have the stylised duck could be one of the greatest things of all time. This is a BSA. Look how angry these ducks look. The stylised duck. He's a menace. We discussed. Guns can be filled with dogs doing naughty things and ducks looking like they're mad. E. Anson & Co. That's a very pleasant looking goose. It's a bit simple. Look at the dog on the trigger guard as well. And some angry looking ducks on that side. 3-inch case, E. Anson & Co. 3 Steelhouse Lane, Birmingham, Magnum. A 3-inch Magnum non-ejector box lock. That's pretty special in its own way. Very, very, very deep filing, very coarse cut rib. Man, there's some sweet guns here. All right, I'm gonna take a break from side-by-sides because I could just spend hours looking at all of these things. Look how wild that is. Look how unbelievably wild it is. But I bet the guy could shoot it, and sometimes that's all that matters. A Wesley Richards sleeved ex-Damascus gun. Look at the way that safety tag bends round. I'll show you a gun now that is up there in the pinnacle of crossovers. Yeah, you know it. That, the most industrial gun Britain ever made, the BSA box lock. Really not that pleasant looking, but still a great looking gun in its own way. All right, we need to hustle this along. I could be here all day going through gun by gun. There's some serious beauties. This Lang 5507, little crack in the stock, but still a beautiful thing. This little Cogswell, I like that quite a bit. It's just a side plate, it's a stand over on 2 assisted opener, but it is in itself the beautiful way they cut that in. It's stunning. We're literally just grabbing a few things. Oh wait. This deserves some time. This is a Cesare Pelli Gardone Italia. This is a non-ejector box lock double trigger. It is not that exciting as a gun, and if it was just here by itself, I'd probably not even cast a second glance at it. But no, it has what I find quite fascinating, a scope attachment. The scope is actually drilled into the flat filed rib, the base of the mount, and then this contraption is drilled into the top. This has taken some serious technical effort to get right. This is not a budget job. The scope, by the way, is missing the back eye rubber, but I feel that once that was on there, you wouldn't be hurt by this. And that might shock you, because usually you'd look through it and inside is a V sort of sight. And as you shoot the gun, I mean, you wouldn't want to do it without the rubber eyepiece, but you'd quite happily do it without. It's on a suspension, a suspended doofer, a recoil absorbing scope mount. I've been trying to think of the reason that this gun exists since I saw it in the last unsold lot sale. We didn't see it last time, it must have snuck away. But I think, I mean, I don't really know, because you have to have your eye pretty close to it to see the yoke, the actual Y. There's a lot of zoom on that. Like a lot of zoom. What even is it? 8x56. It's an 8x56 scope on a shotgun. Shooting pigeons out of trees at night, like something that you really could do with zoom, accuracy. Slug, in countries you're not allowed to slug for shooting slug, but then you're not going to want that. Somebody who was struggling with sight, our birds, could be for high birds. We could all say that this was I've got 3.5-inch Magnum titanium super shot, or tungsten super shot, and boom, as you send it up to the sky, that takes the beating out your eye, and down falls the 600-yard pheasant wearing a gas oxygen mask thing. I mean, either way, I think we can all agree that that is unbelievably cool. Unbelievably cool. Sorry, peng. Unbelievably peng. Isn't that right, Sam? Let's go finish up with some rifles. Come and have a quick look at this side-by-side crossover that I wanted to show you. A couple more rifles. Finish up in here. This has been a longer video than we thought, but there's nearly 4,000 things to look at. I haven't even looked at the antiques and air guns. There's some amazing air guns. Some spare barrels. Ugh. This is mind-blowing how hard it is to try and pick just a couple of hundred guns. So here is the gun I was telling you about, a Fred T. Baker. I spotted this last time. This is pretty insane. It is a very high quality, beautifully engraved hammer gun, right-handed side lever. It is a full crossover, meaning that your left eye goes straight down that rib. My face is perhaps a little fat for it, but your left eye goes straight down that rib when mounting into the shoulder. And the beauty of this is it has curved lock plates. It has a curved top tang there. It has a curved trigger tang, trigger guard. Everything is built into the gun. This is superb quality. MD CCC L XXXX XXXVI. This is a particularly delicious gun. This is as good as a crossover gun gets without spending big money. It's had a little bit of a hard time, as you can tell. A few people taking it apart, but not put it back together right, which is just heartbreaking to see, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Guns like this are relatively low value, 5801. Because nobody wants to buy them to shoot them seriously, buying it as a joke or as a jewel of a collection. It's a jewel of a collection. This is proper gunmaker's art. Making a stock, bending the metal to be perfectly in line. This is, I don't know if there's anyone alive capable of doing this today, properly. That in itself is amazing. I mean, there is probably people capable, but if there's anyone experienced in doing one of these, I do not know. Oh, I'd love to have a go with one of these. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. I mean, worth buying just as insurance, just in case you poke your right out one day. What an amazing piece of gun making. I feel I've had 3 or 4 pints when I look at it, but that is amazing. There's 2 or 3 nice hammer guns, but there's also this deactivated smelly. I mean, deacts are interesting, but they do allow you to own cool pieces of history that then you can do stuff with. You don't have to keep them quite as secure as a real gun. And, you know, there's an element of enjoyment to be had there out of that. There's also some lovely hammer guns in this sale. C.W. Andrews Limited. I mean, it's blacked brown, where it's blacked Damascus, but it's all right. There's some, I mean, it's less than delicious, but there's some really sweet hammer guns you can just get. It's like getting into that market and getting a little slice of the enjoyment that a hammer gun can bring at the top end. That's nice. J.W. Tolley. It's perhaps not the finest gun they've ever built, but it'd be a great gun. For 3-inch, the Ultro. Awesome. That's 5831, that one. We had a little look at this in the main sale video. The Armalite AR-10T. Single shot, left hand cocking. Come have a look at this quickly. On the deactivated gun note, here you go. This is a deactivated 1939 Luger. It's actually, it's pretty sweet, a London-proof deactivation. Still has a couple of moving parts. They've done a nice job of filling up all the machining with a bit of resin by the look of it, so you don't actually have that same horrific thing that you do when you don't then cover up the damage that's been done by a deactivation. But it's a rare opportunity to own one of these in the UK without, again, any mucking about, which is nice. On a similar but completely different note, they always have a load of old pistols, but to be honest, I glance over, which is pretty bad of me, because they've got some really beautiful things. That's 2145 there. Revolving, that should, there you go. Revolving percussion pistol. What a beautiful, beautiful piece of gun making that is, for what it is, very interesting. From the slightly more subtle to the completely unsubtle. For when you want to make strut around your bedroom, pretend you're a bad man. Pretty interesting little thing, isn't it? To be fair, I'm completely out of my depth when it comes to most things pistol related. I know a very limited amount, and I know, for example, that this gun is a beautiful thing, but I know a little bit else about them. Really very smart. And they are, oh wow, look at that. I mean, probably a little bit effeminate, but how was that for a bit of decoration with the, it's like a Bentley stitch with the little silver points. Very interesting. Let's see, I can appreciate it, although I don't know a lot about it, which is something. Another huge amount of accessories, from 30mm cannon shells, drinks flasks, hip flasks, periscopes, grenades. I must admit there's some, the inner old gamer in me. I don't game anymore, obviously, because I'm older, then it would become inappropriate apparently. The amount of joy it brings me to actually hold a real one of these in the flesh. It's pretty wild. Bayonets, knives, cookeries, there's enough stuff here to float most people's boats. Like I said, only 4,000 lots. Before we look at the rest of the rifles, we're going to play a little bit of a game of box roulette. There's so many boxed and cased guns here that it actually makes life a little difficult for us to come and look through everything, because it could be the gun of your dreams in this box just here, and it could be the gun of my dreams inside this box, Sam. What do you think chances are of that? Probably, yeah, probably minimal. What is this then? A refurbished, refinished box lock. You have an angry duck, pretty standard. BSA in a case. That is not the gun of my dreams, but it is nicely refurbed. All right, we're going to spin the wheel again, Sam. Spin the wheel again. This is a leather case. No guarantee that that's going to be a better gun. JHH. Well, that's certainly a little bit more of a interesting prospect than the last. A Damascus box lock. The fore end's a bit damaged there. That's a real shame. A little bit rusted. 740 reproofed. I don't know what those barrels measure up at. It could be an interesting prospect. I mean, Watson's a good maker, and the action certainly looks lovely. Not the gun of my dreams though, but it is a beautiful, beautiful stock. That actually, a beautiful stock, and a very nice box lock. Very nice box lock, relatively unfettered with, which is pleasant. Final game, and then we'll look at one of these Beretta boxes, because something more likely to be delicious in there. I suppose it's wrong that I'm basing the choice based off the absolute lack of destruction of the case, but then some of the nicest guns I've ever seen have been in absolutely rancid cases, because the case has no bearing on the quality of the gun inside. Books and covers and all that. Cogswell, less than interesting. Not horrible, but not the gun of my dreams. It's a fun game. I might play this next time as well. See how we get on. The fact is there's probably 150 cases knocking about this place with guns in, so 50 to 1 odds that you pull a good one. If there's actually good ones in here, who knows? I want to continue playing, but we're not going to continue playing. It's an ATA box. Do I have to open it? Probably. Come on, let's open it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to open the ATA fake Beretta box. Wow, ATA arms. It's actually a nice looking semi-automatic. There you go. I did my duty. 5488C. You could buy a bargain gun for even less than you could buy it for new. That's pretty good, isn't it? That's a Beretta box. No one would fake an old Beretta box. Hold 686. Very pleasant. Huge cheek riser. Game rib. Oh, that's mid-bead. Nice. That'd be a good little first gun for someone with that cheek riser on. I presume it probably was a ladies or a youth gun beforehand. Or maybe just someone who wanted to see a bit of comb because they were a bit flat back in the day. 010721. No. That's the date that it came in for the sale. 5290E. It's getting late in the day now, guys. Let's see what a Catma Arms looks like. 5286C. A single, an over and under 410. A Turkish over and under 410. That looks all right. I mean, it doesn't look like super nice, but I expect it's a reasonably priced gun. It's got quite a nice laser finish, and it's an alloy action, and the coating of the alloy is coming off a bit, but it's a used Turkish 410. I expect if you're after a Turkish 410 on the market, you'd want that to be a reasonable price, given that they're not expensive new from a well-known established brand. Interesting, nonetheless. I've never seen a Catma before. We can all tick that off our list. We've all broken our Catma virginity together. This is mostly just a place to come snooping for an entire day. 5298, a Zolly. Z-Game, is that the Z-Game, or whatever it's called? Here's a good looking gun. Well, Zollies do make a good looking gun. The action finish on them is always very clean. 5298C. Tapered 10 to 6mm rib. Nice, very nice. CM, relatively modern. Looks pretty much unused. A little bit of rust on the face there. Looks pretty much unused, that. It might be. You never know. You never know. Be a nice gun. Would be a nice gun. 5298C. All right, enough faffing about looking in boxes that probably we're never going to have any gold in them. But you never know. I know a guy who actually found a gold sovereign in a gun case that he bought with an awfully scrap gun in. So I always think that perhaps that might be the case. This is sweet. 375 and Marlin. That's very nice. So is this, to be fair, an old Mannlicher. That's not even an old Mannlicher. A relatively new Mannlicher in 3006. So that's a good stalking rifle right there. He says, what's the barrel like? I suppose the question that most people have is, what is the barrel like in these things? The answer is, it needs a little bit of a clean, but looks pretty sharp. A little bit of corrosion at the throat, but again, you're buying a relatively reasonable 3006. Chances are it will shoot minute a deer, which is kind of the point if you're going to buy a gun like this, which will be a good quality gun. You promise they always had a flexible fore in the Mannlichers, didn't they? It's also not the original fore end. Look, it's been restocked. You can see there's a line of dirt that runs up and wears around there. So I presume this has had a new stock put on it at some point and then been put into the sale. Who knows? Gucci wannabe folding stock 1022. I mean, that's interesting. That'll fill somebody with a little bit of joy. This is quite cute. 4418, how to modernize your rifle. Give it a textured finish over the old wooden stock. Knock your rear sight off and chop your barrel down. And actually you'll turn into what I think is quite a good looking machine. See a lot of custom jobs. That's got to be one of the best custom jobs I've seen actually. I really like that. Very smart. Oh mate, I love these. And I said that before. It's a nylon 66. 4416. Is that a nylon 66? Let's presume it's a nylon 66. I mean, yeah, it's a nylon 66. What else have we got? Oh, this is that large loop I told you about. How cool is that? The slightly shorter barrel and 44 Rem mag. Real fun, nice gear. And I love the large loop. It's so much more comfortable to run, mostly because you can just build up that acceleration into the loop. Plus, that's a good looking gun. I think it's a good looking gun. That's 4478. And so they have an absolute heap of lever guns. This is quite smart. This looks like it's a fairly recent custom job. Just looking at your, this comes with a target set already for it in a fairly unscratched, untouched laminate stock. I mean, and it is just a Weatherby Mark V action with a rebarrel. But, you know, it's a good looking rifle, to be fair, in 6.5284, which is a great caliber, so I can't really knock 6.5284. Oh, 45 Colt, that's quite smart. Shame about the crack at the toe there, but you can't have everything, and to be fair, you could repair that properly, put a plate on it, and you probably wouldn't notice that crack. You would just need to either re-lacquer the stock or oil finish it instead, depending on your needs. What is that? Seiko PR4. It's quite nice. I didn't recognise it because the bluing has been worn so thin that it is silver. 2.2s in dress-up kits are, to be fair, you can dress them up to be pretty cool. That's quite a nice combination gun. 7x57R and a probably 12 bore. That's quite nice. That's 4368 with a Zeiss 8x52 on top. Yeah, that's quite smart. Very nice. Seen better days, but it still fills you with joy that they, well, you can pick it up and play with it. Browning, SA22. Yeah, these are interesting things. I'm yet to find one that it is actually accurate, but they're not really designed for supreme accuracy. That's not the point of getting an SA22, is they're lightweight, easy, and at 40 odd yards, they're plenty accurate enough. Husqvarna. It's quite a nice husky action with that safety tang at the back there. That's interesting. I wonder if that stock's original. I mean, the stock's been chopped about quite a lot by adding these other bits on, so I wonder what that looked like originally. I presume it might actually have come around that tang, but again, modernised it. Husqvarna actions are good solid actions. Tikka-Koski, made in Finland, 12 bore and a 7x65, slightly less romantic, perhaps, but a good usable gun for something. Again, my problem is there's never a point that I'm going to need both. We don't have that sort of wilderness where we can go and need one gun for everything here. It's, you don't go out and just have not a pot shot, that's the wrong way of putting it, but you don't go out and just have a look and see, do you? 2.2 long rifle and a 410 3-inch. Again, a savage. You generally, if you're going out for deer, you'll take a deer gun, and if you're going out for birds, you'll take a shotgun. So it's an interesting one in this country, as much as there is, certainly in the southern half, there's probably a little bit more room for it in the wild north. This is interesting, a side-by-side with 28 bore in the left and some large rifle caliber in the right. Hammer gun, and you often see this sort of design on double 410s and sometimes even double 28s, but it's a nice mixture. Mannlicher Schöner 1903 in probably something ridiculous. Just a little tab on the side there that's going to pop your rear sight up. And away you go. That is a sweet old rifle. A sweet old rifle. And to be fair, from what I understand from old stalkers, they ran circles around what we could get at the time. I mean, old stalkers I'm talking about here. All right, there's a few more hammer guns before we'll finally end up in the other room, just go through some of those last semis and then go on our hands and knees. That's a Fraser. It's a nice hammer gun. And again, you can get hammer guns for not mega money. They don't have to be an expensive habit. Well, they can be when you get into the nice ones, but Alex Thompson and Son. .6014, needs a rebrown, but that's quite a nice looking gun. And then a lot of these guns can just do with quite a simple cleanup. W.J. Davis, that's very agricultural looking. W. Jeffrey. It looks like it was once proud. But it's probably had a little bit too much life. And again, it's about picking these, and somebody will absolutely adore and love them, even though they've had a little bit of, not abuse, it's just, you know, we're talking 160-year-old working guns here. That's insane. Slingsby. That's not unpleasant apart from the raising rib. The actual action is nice enough. Yeah, that's nice. Scotcher. That's a very pleasant action. Again, this one it really needs a clean-up, but on the whole, it is a very fine-looking gun. Nice piece of wood. No cracks. The checkering is original, flat point. Quite interesting round pattern. The engraving and lockwork looks really good. The barrels look tired, but yeah, that's an interesting machine, that one there, 6023. That'd be worth a look. For somebody who had the patience to do it up, or again, its rib is coming away ever so slightly at the bottom, which is a shame. The patience to do it up and all the long-term investment that it would take to get it where it needs to be. Anyway, it's enough of old guns. Valeri Antonio 6039. That's interesting. Let's go back and finish the other room. On face value, this little bad boy might just look like a short mag Lee, but it's not. Have a look in there, and you'll see that it's got a 2.2 chamber. And now when I tell you this sits, I believe, on a shotgun certificate, because it is a 2.2 shot, 2.2 shot Mark IV. Lee Enfield 1917 2.2 shot rifle, shotgun. That was pretty cool. We did that video with a 2.2 shotgun. They are difficult to shoot, but they are a great deal of fun. And Lee Enfield in 2.2 shot, even cooler. Probably the coolest ratting gun in the world. Imagine the fun you'd have with that. Unfortunately, the mag is not a converted mag, so there's still a bit of work to do to get it probably where it needs to be. I don't know whether that ever would have had something intelligent to help. It's going to be a bit fiddly, but you could create a helper. Probably already one exists somewhere. That is, that's epic. Let's go finish the rifles, shotguns. All right, top row, bottom row, and we are done on this adventure through Holtz. This is a Winchester 9410. We've seen them before. We even did a video on them. A 410 lever action shotgun. They can be a little bit fussy about ammunition, but providing you're just sticking with the 2.5-inch shells and, you know, picking the right ones, they do cycle pretty well, and you have to be a bit forceful. Oh yes, baby, look at that. That is beautiful, isn't it? Winchester model 1216 gauge, full choke. What a sweet machine that is. What a sweet, sweet machine that is. It should. Yeah, just a bit sticky. That's a proper classy piece of kit right there. Doesn't feel quite right, but it doesn't matter. 4640, it's getting later in the day. Surprisingly, we are 6 hours into filming this. This is serious, and nobody believes me that the fluorescent light and the dryness in here is insane. Savage Stevens 67. That's quite a minty looking one actually. 4636. Sam's telling me off for just constantly picking up guns and talking about them. Benelli M3. We looked at that in the 100 guns video, but nevertheless it is particularly cool. You've got the Dingo gun product. You've got the option of 1 or 2. We've looked at them before. They never cease to be awesome. It's the M3 Chromo. They do not exist in a 3-shot. I believe you could probably have one Krypton restricted, but you can get the black ones now in 2-shot. And I know I've said that a few times, and I'll say it again. How awesome is that? There is certain gimmicky points to the whole pump semi thing, but it doesn't matter. It's still awesome. FAC 410 semi-automatic AR-15, anybody? AR-15 are like Safari Arms T14 36 410 cal. It is, at face value, a 2.5 inch, is it 2.5 inch? 2.5 inch 410 semi-automatic. And that is exactly what it is. It doesn't really need much more explanation. I don't know whether it works or not. And I say it works, I'm sure it will go bang and everything, but I've never yet found, apart from the Remingtons, when using Remington shells, a super reliable 410 semi-automatic. This one doesn't fill me with the joys of spring that it would be super reliable, but I don't care. That would, imagine that with some 410 ammo in, doing a bit of, oh, I can imagine that being great fun. And where it's actually scaled down for a 410, it doesn't feel like 12 bore ones, which always feel a bit like a big shotgun. It always looked like a shotgun. That actually looks and feels, I know that it's not the real thing, so I should just get over it. But that's by the by. Oh, we've seen these before, 190s. There's always one or two in every sale. That's not a 12 bore though, that's a, yeah, 16 gauge. That's quite smart. 4612. The 410 is 4615. That would be a good reason to get a slot on the FAC. And I think it's only like a couple £100 in the sale, about £300. This is worth a bit more. These 600 to 800. Yeah, these are epic though. There's one in the main sale in a case that's worth quite a bit more. This is a Shogun patent. I'm not going to pronounce it. These are awesome. These are absolutely awesome. I am a fan. I am actually very much in fan territory. I'd love to have one and have a go and just, to be fair, I'm not sure, at what point does this become the same couthness level for shooting game, technically? Technically, I don't know. It's older than most of the guns people are shooting game with now. I don't know if that really counts. It's probably a byproduct. I understand there's safety implications and blah, blah, blah. But in terms of respect for the game, it's probably a lot slower to shoot that. They're not the fastest action in the world. That is an 1187 Premier Skeet, Remy 1187, there you go. I love these. I think they're really quite nice. That slight step up rib on them actually just makes them quite good. And where the 1187 is a bit of a heavy lump, if you put a bit of weight in the back of the stock of these, they actually shoot real nice. They do shoot really nice. Oh, paratrooper, sort of, yeah. How awesome is that? Made in Spain, El Palumbo. Okay, we're not gonna look at any air guns today. We're gonna call it air guns, or there's some really nice ones. Here comes the hardest final part of the day. I get to go on my hands and knees and search through the rack behind to see if there's any hidden gems. Wish me luck. All right, so it didn't take long to pick the first one. 5211. It's a very heavy feeling, feels like a Beretta trap gun. It looks like a Beretta trap gun. It's because it's a 686 special trap. I can tell by the deep grip, you got that pommel in the bottom, parallel rib, like everything about this older trap gun is pretty much like a high-grade Beretta Sporter now. But for a fraction of the cost, 5211, that rounded 4 in the deep grip, it's nice, like it's genuine. I'm a big fan of these. As we've said 1,000 times, old trap guns represent very good value for money because generally sporters have gone that way. They have gone that way. But next, more crawling, there's another couple of Berettas. There's a nice A1 in there. 5208, I'm not even gonna get it out, but some lovely, nice A1. Nice, a Browning featherweight. You've got the feather on the bottom there. It's a 20 bore with the round knob. That's a very unusual configuration. For the UK, at least, a very unusual configuration. I like it. Don't say cool. It's a long day of ums and cools, but yeah, that little feather in the bottom is a really lovely touch. And with the round knob, like that is a very usable, enjoyable game gun right there. Good gun to start on, like just a nice gun, lovely spec. Nothing to say there's nothing wrong with the average spec of guns, but one does get kind of jaded with similar. Beretta Gardone, caliber 20. Yeah, it must be S57, just looking at the action. We're very, very early 680, but yeah, more of a S57. Isn't that an interesting cookie? You don't pull one of them out every day. You do not pull one of them out every day. You've got the little silver pigeon logo on top there. A different engraving pattern. It's hand finished engraving. It's a different sort of time of Beretta. Double trigger, opposable front trigger. Always. An opposable front trigger is one of those things that brings you great delight just to push and watch it in action. That is a lovely machine. Shame about the front swivel and the hole in the back, but at the time they weren't made for us. We just adopted them, and now they're made for us and the rest of the world. It's unthinkable to think the Beretta still do it. I mean, they do. They even provide them in the case, don't they? With, what are you going to buy? What's that? No. A lot of older Berettas, a couple of Webley Berettas, 5189, Winchester 101, 20 bore. That's very pleasant. Yeah, a bit of damage to the stock, but there's nothing you couldn't clean up. A 101 20 bore is a fine thing. It's 20-inch barrel as well, so it's not a horrible barrel length. Might as well take that out for a look at the same time. 5188. Another AYA. It's a little bit more worn, probably a bit of a better bargain than the other. But again, 3-piece foreend, nicely carved action with angry ducks. I always love the scripting on the bottom of those AYAs as well. I think that's a good looking piece of scripting. Very pleasant. Well, if you like the style. G Gamba Gordone. Certainly a different looking gun. Up close it's not quite as nice as it looked in the dark behind the rack, but it's certainly striking. It looks like it's got a removable trigger. It does have a removable trigger, it's just a bit stiff. When something's stiff, the answer is not to pull it out. Alright, there you go. That is a fine piece of engineering, actually. As trigger groups go. You can see that lever there just pulls that into place. You do need to have it all the way over for it to clip in and out. So I remember I saw my first one of these a few years ago, probably 10 years ago. And I didn't really get it, and a slightly older, more mature person in the gun trade so took the trigger, and he goes, just look at it. Appreciate the workmanship and the quality. That doesn't exist half as much. Guns aren't always all about the shiny stuff on the outside. It genuinely is on what's on the inside that counts. And they shoot all right. They do shoot all right. A lot of mid-end weight with that action design, which is no bad thing. We all get, again, tied up with what is perfect and who's winning with what, but guns like that used to win, as I said, so they can't ergo be bad. 5176 is a nice looking Maruk. 5168. You know it's gonna be a bit of me. Mark 38 Sport, look at that. Yeah, Mark 38 Sporter. It's been oiled. It's not that exciting, it's had a life, but then you don't get a Mark 38 Sporter and not use it. That would be sad. 32-inch Mark 38 Sporter. From a time when it had quarter, 3/4 chokes. Look what's in there then. You might have once had screw-in chokes. They don't look like 32-inch barrels. Don't know. It's got screw-in chokes, but the gun doesn't have screw-in chokes, but it's marked. Then it's marked plus, and then it's had the additions put on afterwards. All right, this is a bit of a mystery. Then it's got a little line on both barrels where the choke would have butted up at some point. Both very open. Looks like perhaps the threads are being cut off. Who knows? Who really cares? I guess who buys is going to care. That's an interesting one. 5168, like it would be quite a good thing, but I don't think. Let's say. There's no thread. That's stop being confused in a second, just give up. That's probably the answer, isn't it? Yeah, that's the answer, Johnny. Give up. Doesn't matter. Chances are it probably had the choke shot out of it, blown out of it, and it's been shortened. Because it might be a 32 inch, I don't know. Yeah, it's been reblown. All right, that's enough quandary. I suppose it's one of those confusing things that doesn't really matter. It's not worth too much of the time, but 5168 could be a bit of a confuser. Could be a bit of a confuser for those who buy it and try and screw the chokes in. There's a black onyx in there, 5163. Beretta Black Onyx, one of the better cheap old starter guns out there. Nothing special whatsoever, but a good gun, a great gun. That, again, flat back finish we looked at earlier. And you can pick that up probably for £500 or £600, 5163. I guess. I wouldn't want to put too much more than 6 or 7 on it anyway. A lot of Maruks, a lot of A1s behind there. Some really sweet looking guns. John McNabb. See a few of those in every sale, and they always bring me a little bit of joy. A very English finished Italian gun. Remember, it was one of the first guns I saw that I thought, you know, I really like that. And I understand that now, as I'm a slightly older human being and with a bit more taste, you go, it's just fairly bog standard rolled engraving. But it's a shiny gun. The grip and configuration on them was pretty good. Like, they shot well. They shot well. Look, that palm swell, that deep cut out there, it is designed to hold on to. The fore end is semi-beaver tail. It's a good shooter's gun. I like that. I put some stock in that one, 5152. If that was the right money, that would be a hell of a gun to go and buy and enjoy. And you're never going to feel too let down because it is a side plate. And the side plate is still significantly nicer than a lot of the, I'm caught, less delicious alternatives. Hello, baby. What's that? Hello, darling. Sorry, we're obsessed with Pete and Baz here at TGS. That is another TOS. A lightly engraved, unexciting TOS by comparison. Quite sweet to see the basic version, and significantly more Russian. Significantly more Russian. I was told that when we did the video it was a gift grade. Some quite interesting comments on that from our friends in more Eastern Europe, more Eastern countries, Russia as well, who have way more access to that kind of stuff. The information on Russian guns over here is pretty thin on the ground. So, that. Trying to learn about Russian guns is a bit difficult. UC Maruka is a 3800 by the look of it. 2 3/4 inch trap gun, full and 3/4 inch chokes. Original. That superbly wide 13 mil rib. Yeah. Maybe a little too wide for my taste nowadays, but still very good. It's amazing how I used to lust after these kind of things. I suppose your shooting style changes with what you're using most, doesn't it? So using a slightly thinner rib now makes me require a thinner rib day to day. Right, what are we going to finish on, Sam? What are we going to finish on? So this is a reproduction English Civil War doglock musket in .744 caliber, or 12 bore as we would like to call it occasionally. The locks are working. It is sold on a shotgun certificate. Pull that back. Look at that. Safety catch. That's quite smart. So it's just a reproduction, 80 to 100 pounds. This gun has a 60 odd inch barrel, overall length of 6'5", 6'6". This is cool. For 80 to 100 pounds, this is well up there. Just for the ability to sit there and, oof, well, not even pretend. I think, knowing what I know about large guns, large muzzle loaders, you could probably get an exemption for having this in a cabinet. You could probably get this on a lock system instead, because who's going to steal a 7-foot muzzle loading gun? In earnest, anyway. It's not even who's going to steal it. Obviously, the threat when someone does steal a muzzle loading gun is probably slightly different. You could do the cleanup. It's very dirty. You could probably get this taken off ticket if you wanted, but yeah, just imagine going out clay shooting with this and someone goes, I've just got myself a 34-inch barrel HPX. Well, check out my 60-inch barrel muzzle-loading dog-log English replica Civil War thing. Thump. Be quite fun, wouldn't it? It would be very fun. For 80 to 120 pounds, that could be the bargain of the sale. Someone's going to buy that now. We're always in two minds as to whether to show things. The answer is that all the cool stuff is obviously to let everyone have a fair crack at it. And that's one of the harder things of coming here, is not keeping all the good stuff to ourselves. There's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of less good stuff, a lot of reproduction stuff. Some really sweet old toys that aren't old. And again, you can come here with a tenner. You could come into this room with £1,000. You could come in this room with whatever amount of money you wanted and walk out with, I don't know, whatever you want. A submachine gun, a bazooka, a replica muzzle loader, an original muzzle loader, an original blunderbuss, camel guns, Polynesian guns, all sorts of stuff. I mean, Schmidt-Rubens, military rifles, old actual Enfields with old spiky things. It is, I hesitate to use the word bargain basement because it's not. This is a treasure trove. There are some guns in here that, you know, I think 40 years ago people would have died for. And nowadays, because the value of them is, it's not low, it's just great. And actually it seems to have stabilised and those values are picking up. This is not a bad time to invest in English guns. Or even perhaps bazookas. Guys, thank you very much for joining me on this epic saga. And I'm so sorry that if I've missed something that you wanted me to look at, if I'm really sorry, I'm not even that sorry. There's just too much in here to look at. Henry's rifling. There's too much in here to look at. And I've looked at just a smidgen of it. It is probably one of the coolest places in the UK for a gun lover. But to be honest, the website does this justice. It's a lot easier to navigate their website than it is to navigate this room, because you look at a rack with 50 guns on, you don't know where to start. You don't know where to start, and you've got these everywhere. Take care. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck in the sealed bid. There are some absolute gems. I will be competing for a few. What is this? What is this? Why don't I own that? Wow, lot 2069. What a cool piece of history. You could just stay here for hours. Look at these. I mean, yes, it's not real, but it is still somewhat beautiful. You could stay here for hours looking at guns. And to be fair, I say, we've been in this room for 6.5 hours now, and we've managed to just scrape the surface. I've told you a few of my picks of the sale. Guys, take care, enjoy. This has been an epic saga for you and for me. I'm hot and dehydrated. This has been an epic, epic sale. Nearly 4,000 lots. Take care, guys.